Priorities for all of us got very difficult in the recession. And because as cities, we all have more needs than we have money. And it was hard for all of us, but we're coming out of that, and that's good. But for me, one of the biggest challenges going forward to look at balancing is water. And the city of Ventura has our own water source. We don't import water. It's all there under the ground in Ventura. We have wells, and we take it from the river. And so what we need to do as the city council is constantly look at the balance, for one thing, with rates, because we have to keep raising rates, even though people are using less water. And this doesn't make a lot of logical sense. They think, well, I'm using less water, why do I have to pay more? Well, our infrastructure is old, and it gets more and more expensive for the electricity to pump the water. You know, the costs just keep going up. But the other end of the equation is, do we add new development that's going to use more water? And that is a huge controversy. Pretty much everything that comes to our city council ends up being controversial. But development is probably one of the main things. And when we talk about anything that's going to have a long-term impact on the city, and especially our water source and traffic, those are two hot buttons, the council has to look at the long term. I've learned over 13 years to look way ahead. Sustainability is our responsibility, not the short-term profit for some developer or some person that has a special interest in a particular project or a particular issue. So what we have to look at is making sure that we're not there to make everybody happy that needs something from the city. We are there to make sure that our grandchildren in 50 years have water, and that they have a decent place to live, and that they have a great city to live in. Thank you.
Well, I think all of us really just like to help the community, and that's pretty much what got us involved in the first place. I think you have to be willing to talk to people, whether they agree with you or don't agree with you. And, you know, I've always been a champion of trying to get more people to come down to the city council and talk to us about what they think. Because, you know, every single item, no matter what it is, you're going to have people that feel one thing or feel another. And my feeling is that we have got to treat, all of us need to treat with respect. Every now and then you might get a council member who doesn't treat somebody with respect, and it usually comes back to haunt that person if that happens, you know, on the dais. But I don't find it difficult, to be perfectly honest, to just talk to people and talk about what the issues are and what the pros and cons are of whatever, if it's a controversial issue. That, you know, there aren't a huge number of controversial issues that we get. Every now and then we do. And then you just have to listen to all sides, and you have to do what you feel is right. And a lot of times you do bring in a point of view for some of what you decide that came from somebody who disagreed with you. And you just have to do what you feel is right.
I think it's very important for you to stand up for what you believe in, and I think it's very important for you to fight for what you believe in. And if you are sitting at home just yelling at they who did that to you, you really have no business in being able to do that. I think it's important as a member of society for you to do that. Is that I'm pretty approachable. People who don't know me, we don't even speak the same language, come up to me in the store, and all they want is somebody to listen to their problems. And if you can listen to their problems and help them address their problems, they feel good and you feel good about accomplishing something.
It's not really all that horrible. You know, when you make a difference, when you serve in any way, whether it's elected or on a board, and when you feel like you make a difference in something that is important to the community, it's totally worth it. I mean, whether people are mad at you, whether it's hard, whether you feel crazy or exhausted or whatever, in the long run, it's worth it. And, you know, the fact that I have 6 grandchildren here makes it even more worth it for me, because I know that I'm doing something that will impact them and their families, you know, 20, 30 years from now. But when you look at the community and you get to know people and you see that the decisions we are making and the priorities we have are impacting their life every day, you know, whether we pave their street or whether we fix fix a park. Those are really tangible impacts. In a way, at the local level, local politics is really rewarding. So I would encourage anybody here to get involved. It's really, it's a little difficult sometimes, but it's totally worth it. It's rewarding, and everybody can get involved somehow or other in a difference.
This, I have in my office at City Hall photos of all of my nieces and nephews. And I don't have children of my own, I have stepchildren. And I like to think of them when I'm making decisions. You know, the county has a policy, and I'll acknowledge Supervisor Wong here. It's called Health in All Policies. And I think that's what you have to think of. What's going to be good for our future and our children? And I can sleep at night, even though sometimes we have some pretty tough meetings that go quite long. But we're thinking about the future. What is going to be like for those children in 10 years, 50 years, and the future of our civilization? And I do believe that in cities in particular and in the county, we are the ones who are going to have to respond to all of the issues today.
Good, thank you. So I want to say for those of you who ever invite politicians to come speak, the reason this is moving so quickly, if you give them 1 minute, they'll take 2. If you give them 2, they'll take 5. You give them 5, they take 10. And after that, it's your own foolishness for giving them more time to speak. So I would like to do this.
After you've served for a while, you kind of understand that it's really a tiny group of people.
The reality is you have to never give up your ability to listen, even to the people that you want to just turn off.
There are some good points buried within the vitriol when somebody does have vitriol. And you want to find what those are, and you still want to treat those people with respect in spite of the fact that they might not be treating you and the public with respect.
I think that it's important to listen, to take in all points of view, and even the people that you know are maybe the wacky fringe. Listen carefully, and then you need to make up your mind based on all the evidence.
None of us should ever tell anyone of any gender or background, you can't. Yes, you can, and you have, and you will.
Great answer. Anybody else want to pick up that one too? Ginger.
I just want to say one thing. I didn't do sports, I played with dolls. Okay? But my grandmother told me I could do whatever I pleased, and I certainly did.
Indeed.
Yeah, and I do think you need to encourage, I think all parents, and you know this is nothing new, you just need to encourage what they are interested in. And everybody doesn't have to be on a city council, but they need to be involved in whatever they have a passion for. And if you can encourage their passions, then if being a leader turns out to be one of their passions, then they're going to feel comfortable doing it because you encourage that passion.
Girl Scouts.